and not every product is going to be a win. And I think it's in general, nobody has 100% hit rate, right? You're playing the
Yeah.
odds. Entrepreneurship is a probability game, of course. Hard work and learning and education and everything that goes into it increases that probability. But there are certain things that are out of your control. The market is out of your control. Economics are out of your control. And so certain things, you take the overall picture and you see that you're a winner, but you will take some L's along the way.
I create clear thinking and decisive leaders who can amplify their influence. Contact me to find out how I can help you or your organization. And today our guest is Eugene Sas. How are you doing?
Doing well, and how are you?
I'm really cool, thank you. And I'm super looking forward to this conversation. Now you're looking all cool and relaxed there, and I'm wondering what makes you cool and relaxed.
I think I'd have to chalk it up to experience. I think we're all, you have to earn being cool and relaxed. I think we all started out a little nervous and full of doubt, unsure of ourselves, but I think it's just, years of going through it already.
You know what? I like that. You have to earn it. That's right. And I think, you know what? I think people forget that. When people start out and they're saying, "Oh, so and so has got this and they're doing that," and you're like, "Well, it didn't start off like that. It didn't start off like that."
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, so tell us a little bit more about you.
So where do I begin? I mean, I think, I was born in the Ukraine. My
Mhm.
family immigrated when I was just a baby to New York City. And I just look back on their story a lot because for them it was all about survival. New
Right.
country, didn't know the language. And for them, the way to come up in the United States as an immigrant was through education.
Yeah.
And so it was all about, getting educated, getting a college degree, getting a good career going. And, that's the model that they set for their children, for me.
Mhm.
And so it was like, get good grades, go to school, go get a degree, go get a good career. And I did all of that. But along the way, it was something that felt unnatural to me, or just didn't. I did it because I was told it was the right thing to do. And
Mm.
so I started my career in New York City in the financial industry, and I went through that for a few years, only to just feel off the whole time. I was just not interested in the work itself. I wasn't connecting well with my colleagues. Like something was just off. And I think I just wasn't in the right career. I wasn't in something that drove me, something that gave me, a feeling of passion or motivation. And I had my wife's personal trainer at the time actually started selling on Amazon. This was probably 2014. And he launched a pet supplement really early on. They just changed one molecule in the supplement and they hit about 2 million in revenue, I think, in under 12 months. And I looked at that and I was like, whoa, what is that? This individual is no longer going into work. He's not in an office. He's not, in this, I guess, typical, what I viewed as the typical, career or having a job. And so he was kind enough to take me under his wing. I started learning from him. He put me on the right books, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I started getting into self development and really changing myself. I think I was just in this kind of zombie mode of going to work, come home, play video games, watch Netflix. Like it was just the same thing, mundane over and over and over again. And this individual kind of was a pattern interrupt for me. Came into my life at the right moment. And 2016, started my own Amazon business, bootstrapped with initial $10,000 investment, and then just compounding, still working, still side hustling that business. Got it to seven figures and was able to finally leave that corporate job. My wife was able to quit her job as well, and at that point, I think it was around 2019, just before 2000, yeah, end of 2019, we already started to sell all of our things in New York City and pack it up to go travel, and then the pandemic hit. But yeah, that was kind of the storyline there. It was just a lot of started with a lot of stress and discomfort, looking for something better, and thankfully landing on it.
Okay. That sounds so interesting. And I can imagine you must have gone through quite a lot to get where you feel comfortable with dominating Amazon. So a lot of people say that, almost. anytime you open up your email, there's an email in there that says you can make a seven-figure business off Amazon. What makes you different? What's the secret sauce that you have?
Yeah, I mean, e-commerce is a highly evolving industry, right? Nothing stays the same over and over. I think what makes a really good entrepreneur in the e-commerce and Amazon world is just constantly adapting to the new trends. And in the beginning in 2015, 2016, Amazon was pretty wide open. I know so many people that started at that time. It was just a lot easier to launch products. There was way less competition. And so no matter what you launched, you had a very high probability of success. Now, as time goes on, the secret's out, right? Amazon is huge. The e-commerce wave is insane. COVID propelled e-commerce 10 years ahead of where it was supposed to be. People were forced to shop online because nobody was going to
Mm.
stores. And so the secret was out, right? People were making big money on Amazon. Everybody was interested in getting in on the game and starting to sell. And with that became increased competition, came saturation of certain niches and product niches in the market. And so now it's about, well, how do you carve a competitive edge out for yourself? How do you become a more sophisticated player so that you can continue capitalizing on this humongous behemoth of a company that gives third party sellers like us the ability to make money on that platform? And so what we've started to do is we're really utilizing software to scrape through these hundreds of millions of products and find these needles in a haystack. We almost, you can say, have a GPS coordinate to find really good opportunities in this large machine without having to deal with a lot of competitors, right? The issue with Amazon, if you're trying to start selling on the platform, is you don't want to compete with products that have thousands of reviews, right? Because shoppers are most likely going to buy those. They already have an established, mature product on this platform that people already have enough social proof to feel comfortable buying that specific product. As a new seller coming into that market, if you have 5 reviews, well, I'm more than likely going to buy the one with 3,000 reviews or 10,000
Mm.
reviews because there's already enough social proof there for me to feel comfortable buying that one. So that's just the natural consumer behavior there. And so what we're doing is we're actually able to scrape titles, right? So the title of the product, like when you go on Amazon and you see the title of the product is just describing what the product is. So what we're able to do is see which keywords. So think of a keyword in the sense that if you're typing, what specifically you're looking for on Amazon, right? You go to Amazon, you type it into the search bar, right? That's a keyword. So the keywords in the title are what describes the product. What we're able to do is find keywords that people are searching for by the thousands, but these products, they're not using those keywords in their title. So what that allows us to potentially look at is products that have demand but aren't being served. And so we're finding a lot of these products, I like to call them golden eggs. They're basically, there's demand for them, but there's very little competitors, maybe one competitor, maybe two. Sometimes there's no competitors at all. And so that makes it way easier to enter the market. You're already serving a need that's being unmet. And so you have the ability to capitalize and make money there.
Okay, okay. So I understand the marketing of it. So what are you suggesting that somebody drop ships the product, or how are they making the money?
Yeah. So, yeah, let me back up there then. So, what we recommend is private labeling. The reason we prefer private labeling is because, in that sense, we're actually developing an asset. So, what private labeling is, like, think about going to your local supermarket. They resell hundreds, if not thousands, of other brands, right? These are all brands, different products with their own private label on them. And so, as a seller on Amazon, you could do the same exact thing. You can find a product, get a manufacturer to produce it for you, and you put your own brand name that you create on that product. And so you private labeled that product. And so what we're recommending people do is find products they can manufacture and private label. Because over time, the brand grows in value. If you start to grow your profits, your company now has value. And so this business model allows you to develop this asset over time, which you could potentially exit. There was a huge wave in 2021, 2022, where Amazon sellers were selling their companies at very high multiples. And so it's lucrative because, in this sense, you're developing your own brand, your own asset. And the way that you do that is, you establish this market opportunity, this product opportunity that we just spoke about. You find an appropriate supplier that can produce that product for you at a very high quality. You'll receive samples of it so you can assess the quality. And then you import it into the marketplace in which you want to sell it in. And there you have your kind of simplified business model, so to say, in the private label world of Amazon.
I understand what you're saying. So a couple of things there for me then. I don't know if this is true, but I've certainly read somewhere where sellers have said if they do particularly well in a particular space, then Amazon will come out with will do the exact same thing, and therefore then that becomes the Amazon's bestseller. So then all that work that you've done, Amazon then just scoops off the top. Don't know if that's true, but I remember reading about that. Um,
Mhm.
and the other thing that comes to mind is what kind of entrepreneur would be best doing this kind of thing? Because it doesn't sound like it's the sort of thing that someone can be, I don't know, in an office job and go, I'm just going to do this as a side hustle. Because it sounds like there's a lot of negotiation with the manufacturers. Maybe you need to go and see them. I mean, how easy is it to do?
Yeah, so I mean, I would challenge both of those things head on.
Okay.
So from the aspect of Amazon coming in and, taking your market share, that happens in usually highly commoditized markets
Right.
where you do have those humongous volumes, right? Those sellers that have those 10,000 reviews. And that's not what we're talking about, right? We don't want to enter those markets. We avoid those markets. We're looking to carve out to be a big fish in a small pond because that's
Right.
a lot of opportunity there and a much lower risk, higher probability of success. So that's our approach to that private label business model now. Amazon getting wind of, that small pond, which would be very significant to us, is extremely insignificant to them.
Mhm.
So that's our approach, and we're not concerned about it whatsoever. We don't sell commoditized products like toilet paper, paper towels, things like that. Like Amazon Basics are looking into those type of things. That's not for us.
Okay.
And then as far as what sort of entrepreneur or individual can go for this business model? I mean, I did exactly that. I side hustled it while working an office job. So I think that the business model here allows you to move at your own pace. You could develop products at your own pace. You could do product research at your own pace. I think that it's a good side hustle in that it's not going to overwhelm the time commitment. I think every individual can decide how intensely they want to approach this business model, and how quickly they want to grow it, and what their risk appetite is in terms of investment and budget. So I think it's pretty flexible, and really is for anybody.
I suppose that's reassuring. So if someone's listening and they go, right, okay, that's something I'm super excited to do. Is there a particular process that they need to follow to get started with this?
Yeah, for sure. There's a step-by-step process. I mean, you start with setting up a business, right? Setting up a business account, setting up your Amazon Seller Central account, then starting to implement these product research techniques that we just talked about shortly. After you've established that product, then you go to marketplaces where buyers and sellers of these, products, connects you to manufacturers and suppliers. You begin negotiations with them. You get samples. You assess those samples. If all is good, you place your order. You get a quality control inspection within that order. Then you work with something called a freight forwarder. They help you import your products into the country in which you intend to sell those products. And then you're getting photography, graphic design, right? Because when you go to Amazon, you're looking at the photos, you're looking at the presentation of the product. That's really important for the consumer. And so you're getting that done. And then you're ready to launch. And so now within Amazon, they also have their own on platform advertising offer. And it's very important to utilize that because especially when you're launching a new product, you need visibility.
Mm.
And so Amazon has something called the flywheel effect. Basically, the way it works is you want to get your initial base of reviews. They have something called the Vine review program. Assuming that you have a high quality offer, you'll get good reviews from that program. That'll be your initial base of reviews because we talk about social proof is really important in order for consumers to feel comfortable to buy the product. And so you get that initial base of reviews. You start getting sales momentum. The sales momentum creates your ability to get even more reviews. And that creates even more sales velocity. And that sales velocity also comes with a metric called conversion rate. And Amazon loves high converting products because that means that consumers love what you're offering. And once that pushes the conversion rate, you all of a sudden get organic visibility on the platform. So whatever that keyword is that describes your product, let's say it's like water bottle and it's a high converting, high selling product, Amazon's algorithm is going to recognize that. And all of a sudden you're going to start showing up in the organic results. So the positions for that keyword, which you don't have to pay for. And that's when profitability really starts to kick in. So I would say that's kind of the bird's eye view of what that process looks like. And it's all about building momentum on the platform, which compounds into more sales, more reviews, more sales, more reviews. And then the product matures and seals its place in the keyword positioning that describes the product. And then you have a healthy launch that now just requires inventory management and overseeing that advertising spend to make sure that everything is profitable.
Brilliant. Thank you. Let's listen to a quick advert. As a leader, you know that having a strong level of influence is essential to achieving your goals. But how do you know if you're truly making an impact? Take the How Influential Are You scorecard to get a clear picture of your current level of influence and identify areas for improvement. With personalised recommendations and valuable strategies, you'll be able to amplify your influence and make a real difference as a leader. Don't miss this opportunity to improve your leadership skills. Take the scorecard now at amplifyyourinfluence.scoreapp.com. Welcome back to the Maverick Paradox. This is the podcast for the pathologically curious. You make it sound so easy. Maybe you can take us through what you went through, because I understand that you had your own startup with $10,000 and then you've turned it into a multi-million-dollar winter sports brand. Take us through how you did
Yes.
that.
Yeah, it was definitely rocky in those early years because there wasn't a lot of education out there. There weren't any courses I could take. There weren't that many mentors because it was still early in the game. So I think there was some baseline benchmark that we were shooting for. We had an understanding that we needed to design nice products. We needed to make sure that our photography was really good. We needed to make sure that as far as competition goes, we were the best. And we were competing, right? Now we know these new tactics where we can carve out a little space for ourselves where we don't have to compete with others. But at the time when we were competing, it was product design, it was beautiful photography, it was beautiful graphics, it was beautiful video, it was packaging the entire thing in a superior way compared to our competitors. And that model worked for us. Actually, before the winter brand, I had a couple of products. One, I have a really funny memory. It's just one of those that I love to look back on. Our very first product was this vacuum wine pump. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't do a single course. This was even before I talked to my mentor at the time. This was just completely winging it. And I remember asking my grandfather in his small Toyota to drive me to the port to pick up the product from the port. And it was freezing weather. It was like January, I don't know, in Fahrenheit, it was 22 degrees, freezing, below freezing. And we parked between these two huge 18-wheeler trucks, and I hop up on the dock and I'm handing him these boxes down in freezing weather. So it's these humble, modest attempts at figuring out entrepreneurship without really knowing what I'm doing. When I found out later, I didn't even have to even see or touch my product to start selling it. And so, the beginning was very bumpy. And then I finally came across a program that I paid for, and that kind of set the model up for me of how to actually do this business. And then obviously, getting a mentor was a huge deal for me because that changed my mindset about entrepreneurship completely. So it was mindset plus, the process of the actual business model combined, which started leading to more progress. So the beginning days were bumpy. And then it was just rinse and repeat. So once I finally had a feel, we got our first win. The first product we sold was actually a watermelon slicer. It's a little kitchen gadget. And we did a lot of product research on it. We noticed that people were complaining that it was metal. It was hurting their hand when they were, pushing down to slice the watermelon. And so we designed a mold with a soft silicone handle and we put out a superior product, and all of a sudden we were selling thousands of units every month. And that was kind of our first big win. And we realized, okay, so designing great products, um, and being better was a good model. And so we did that. The next product we chose was outside of the kitchen category in this winter sports category. And same thing. It was like a ski strap for carrying skis. And we noticed that there wasn't any padding on the shoulder piece. And so people were complaining that it was uncomfortable. And it was a really easy addition to the product. We just added a padding to it. And again, like we took over the market. We started selling, 30,000 units a season. And then we started expanding the product line, and we just kept doing the same model over and over and over again. And then it was just rinse and repeat. Find a great product opportunity with low to mid competition, design a better product, launch it, and then we take over the market.
Sounds good. Is there any times where you made a mistake? Maybe you picked the wrong product?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. The markets, they change quickly. So some of our product design cycles were really long. Eventually, we started patenting products, and our product development sometimes would take a year and a half. And that's quite a long time to allow a market to develop on Amazon because people are launching, prices are dropping, right? Competition picks up. So when you go into slightly more competitive markets, which we started doing already, after years of experience, um, a year and a half product development life cycle can add a little bit of risk. And so we started seeing a lot of low cost competitors coming into the market. And we were, designing these beautiful products, and they were quite expensive to produce. And we thought, again, same thing, our product is superior. We'll launch it. And that was one time where that model didn't work for us. And we needed to price our products a little bit much higher than the competition. We thought the premium was worth it, but we just didn't sell through the inventory as we would have hoped, and the margins weren't as big as we would have hoped. And so, it doesn't, not every product is going to be a win. And I think it's in general, nobody has 100% hit rate, right? You're playing the
Yeah.
odds. Entrepreneurship is a probability game, of course. Hard work and learning and education and everything that goes into it increases that probability. But there are certain things that are out of your control. The market is out of your control. Economics are out of your control. And so certain things, you take the overall picture and you see that you're a winner, but you will take some L's along the way.
Hmm. I think that's quite good to get the balance to see that it's not all roses. And I guess
Absolutely.
it's a similar thing with any kind of business, isn't it? That you got to get the pricing right, but timing is such integral, especially when you're going for mass market, so low cost
Yes,
but massive volume. I mean, I can understand why you can't wait a year. It's a bit different if you're going, you can wait for the next, I don't know, iPad, which is not
exactly.
quite the same as the next, I don't know, glasses case or something like that. So that makes sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
Usually before
Exactly.
we,
But we
so,
learn, we learn and adapt along the way. And so now we have this new approach to the business model, right? So we're not doing the same thing as we did 3 or 4 years ago. We're adapting, and that is one of the characteristics of great entrepreneurship is learning how to create these competitive advantages for yourself. And so I
mm,
think we've actually now developed a system where it's much easier to get in the game in today's market.
and I guess if for any reason Amazon doesn't exist in the manner it does now, maybe it gets broken up in an antitrust thing or whatever. This kind of thing is applicable to any e-commerce platform.
Well, I'd say that the current model that we have built out is for Amazon.
Hmm.
So one thing I didn't mention to you in our journey is that part of an organization called Top Dog. And Top Dog has been focused on specifically 7 and 8 figure sellers, helping them scale beyond their current level. Our CEO is very successful. He's a 8 figure seller. He's been huge in the Amazon space for a long time. And now we've kind of grown the organization to now serve aspiring entrepreneurs too. And so we're teaching the system that I'm talking to you about today as well.
That makes sense. And I guess what I meant was if Amazon
Hmm.
did get broken up in antitrust and they decided to that will either stay Amazon or another company with a different name. But it's
Hmm.
so it would still would work. It just might not be called Amazon, but it will be probably run in a similar sort of way.
Oh,
Eugene,
100%. Yeah,
yeah, it's been really good to have you on actually and have that different perspective in terms of running a business. And I say with you helping entrepreneurs to do a similar thing, it
for sure.
de-risks it for them.
For sure.
So
Yeah, I
thank you
mean,
for
if anybody's interested, we have launchtopdog.com. That's where we're starting to teach that new system of scraping titles and finding, those little niches for those
Mm.
easy wins.
And is that topdog.com?
Yeah, launchtopdog.com.
Brilliant. Thank you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you out there for tuning in to the Maverick Paradox podcast. I'm Jude Germain, your host, and I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation.
The Maverick Paradox Magazine. The Maverick Paradox Magazine is for the pathologically curious. Written by a swagger of socialized mavericks who are divergent thinkers, the magazine tackles the biggest issues affecting maverick leaders today. You might be a business owner or a leader within an organization who wants to have your thinking challenged, to be exposed to a diversity of thought, or to learn from diverse experts in their fields. If so, the Maverick Paradox Magazine is for you. Join the swagger at themaverickparadox.com and engage in the conversation.